This is the Anechoic AnechoX 30L. And today we're going to talk about whether or not this suppressor checks the boxes for being a good suppressor. Talking about sound suppression, muzzle flash reduction, as well as overall construction of the can itself. But first, let's talk about our sponsors. The first being Infinite Defense. Infinite Defense provides the channel with infinity targets. We shoot the hell out of them all over the channel. Check them out. The next being Anechoic, the people that made this suppressor for this video that we're doing. They sent this can over to me to review, make a video about. They do not get to see this video beforehand, so if I say anything bad about this or good about this, they don't get to know until you guys do. But I'm kind of spoiling the review here because I would not have a sponsor on the channel if I did not enjoy their products, so that's giving you a little hint as to what I think about this can. Lastly is Hot Munitions. Hot Munitions provides the channel with ammo like 223, 300 Blackout, 9mm, a bunch of others that either I or you guys shoot. So go ahead and use code NANNERS at all of the channel sponsors for certain percentages off. Now back to the Anechoic can. This was actually my first titanium can that I've ever had, and whenever I received it, I noticed how light it was. And that kind of made me skeptical about whether or not it would be good. It's just dumb thinking by me, but you know, you feel something really light, you're kind of like, I'm not gonna say this feels cheap, but in other cases, you'll feel something really light and be like, oh, this kind of feels cheap. You'll feel something heavy and you're like, oh, this is well made. Yeah, that's really dumb. But I had the first thought. I can happily tell you that that is not the case here on this 30L. I actually have been really enjoying this can, and we're going to go through why I've been enjoying it. First, let's go through some of the features here. As you guys saw in the intro, this has a very cool design on the front of it. It is a I don't want to say flow through, high flow end cap. And it gives you less back pressure. It does have a little bit more, or I guess less sound reduction than a traditional end cap like I have here. This is a traditional end cap where it's just one hole and there's no crazy designs allowing the gases to escape in any sort of way. While this one, like you can see, it is all of those designs around there. Those are extra holes for the gas to escape. Another thing that makes this can more of a high flow or a low back pressure can is the baffles inside. I'm not going to be able to take this apart on YouTube. I don't know. I don't want to risk it because I'm fairly certain YouTube will literally kill me. I'm not exaggerating. But the inside of this, the baffles actually have a bunch of holes going through them, allowing the gases to flow through that hole and then sort of escape back down through it and then go to the next baffle. It's a very, very cool design, and it actually makes this can less pressure-y. Like I showed earlier, they do allow you to purchase different end caps. This one is specific to a 22 caliber, so if you wanted to shoot 223 or anything, you could shoot it through there. This will turn this can more into a traditional can, like the Saker 556K that I have right here. You can see this has more of a traditional style. It's just one single hole there. I'm assuming those ones at the front are just lightning cuts because those actually don't do anything. But this is what this can would turn into, is just you get better sound reduction while sacrificing more pressure to the face. Now I'm going to read off the specific information about the can here, just so you guys that actually care about all of these numbers and everything, so you guys are able to listen to it and figure out if it's something that you like or it fits your criteria or whatever. The length of this can with the direct thread adapter is 8.2 inches. So that's with the direct thread. As you can see, I do not have the direct thread. I have an ASR mount on here, just so I'm able to run it on all of my rifles that I have ASR mounts on. The diameter of the can is 1.6 inches. The direct thread pitch of this 30L, it's a 30 cal, so it's the 5/8 by 24 inches or whatever. Now the weight of this thing, with the direct thread mount, you have 11.6 ounces, and then with my Bravo mount for the ASR, it is 14.4 ounces. You get a full-size 30 cal can at 14.4 ounces with a QD mount on it. That's that's pretty good. I like it a lot. Now this is hub mount compatible. I just didn't want to show me taking this apart on camera just in case YouTube wanted to literally come over here and murder me. So I just took it off camera, but it is hub mount compatible. So as you can see, you're able to just unscrew it from whatever mount you want and screw it on there, use it on whatever. If you're a weirdo and you're using chemo because you haven't found out that chemo sucks, you could probably put it on there. If you want to just go direct thread, the one that they come with, you can do that too. If you want to go ASR, whatever. If it uses a hub mount, if it is a hub mount, this can fit on it. Now there are some restrictions to this can, being titanium. I think with a lot of titanium, not all, but a lot of titanium cans, they have certain restrictions. This one has it is full auto rated up to, so with 5.56 it is 50 rounds of 5.56, and for 7.62 or 308 it's up to 20 rounds or 8 rounds of 300 Win Mag. Now the maximum bullet diameter for this can is 0.313 inches, so anything that or under, you can shoot through it. Now I know a lot of you guys are probably wondering about the materials. It is grade 5 STA 1000 titanium, and the blast chamber and blast baffle is stainless 17.4 H900. I don't know what that means, but some of you guys do, so there you go. They do advertise the maximum sound reduction, which is 42 decibels. I don't know what caliber that's on. I don't know how they measured that or anything like that, so take that with a grain of salt. This does come in 4 colors. It is black, FDE, OD green, and a raw titanium. The MSRP on this can is $11.99. That is without the discount code NANNERS, which actually brings it to, I think, $10.19, so $1,019. So it saves you about 180 bucks, so almost your tax stamp. So like I mentioned earlier, you can purchase different end caps for this, those traditional ones, and they have quite a bit. You could get a 22, 26, 30, 35, 40, and 45. And like I said, those are all the traditional ones. So if you wanted to have maximum quietness, you could get those. Now let's talk about my experiences with this can. I've shot it on multiple rifles. Today I shot it on the BCM, which is 14.5, 16-inch LaRue, 300 Blackout Rattler, all of which have varying barrel lengths. But I can say that so far my experiences with this can have been very good. The biggest change that I noticed when running this can, as opposed to the one that I would usually run on my 5.56 rifles, the Saker, is the weight. Like I mentioned earlier, this is around 14 ounces with the QD attachment on there, and having such a large can be so much lighter than this. I think this comes in at just over 1 pound, I think 1 ounce. Yeah, 1 pound, 1 ounce at 4.9 inches compared to the 14.4 ounces. I mean, it's wild how you perceive the weight difference. You'd think that it being a longer can would actually make it a little unwieldy, but it's really not. I actually prefer running this can on my 16-inch LaRue now, even though it's longer, but it just feels so much lighter. It has a better balance to it, it feels. Let's talk about the sound, because I know a lot of people, myself included, prefer to have a better sounding can. I mean, you don't want to go the Sandman K route and have a glorified compensator on there. You want to have sound reduction in a can, and this does provide that, absolutely. It does sound better on the longer barrel that you put it on. Whenever I put it on my 16-inch, it sounds much better than whenever I put it on my 14.5. That's not saying that it sounds terrible by any means, but it also sounds really good whenever I run subs through my 300 Blackout on it. And it's a reduced back pressure can, so you are going to get a little bit more sound to it, but again, we've talked about the trade-offs. You get less gas in the face. In this case, you're also saving a little weight. I don't have the extreme sound equipment here to tell you what exact decibels it brought my my rifles down to or anything like that. I do not want to do that, and I can't do that even if I wanted to. So, and when you're watching on YouTube, it's pretty hard to tell whether or not a can is good by judging the sound from a video that's been compressed. And also everyone's speakers are different. You have bad headphones, you have good headphones, good speakers, whatever. It's not going to sound the same. So me telling you, hey, listen to this, that's telling you nothing. Anyone that does that doesn't know how video or sound or anything like that works. So those of you saying, why didn't you shoot it and let us hear it raw? Putting the camera at different angles and different distances, even the same can sound completely different from a difference of 5 feet and 45 degrees. It'll sound completely different. So I'm not going to do a sound test on video because it's not going to tell you anything. Lastly, regarding sound, when I shoot this and I'm filming in slow motion, this can sounds like a pack-a-punched weapon or something. It sounds like an alien blaster. Take a listen. I don't hear that whenever I shoot. It just sounds like a normal suppressed rifle, but when you slow it down, it just sounds wild. Moving on to muzzle flash, I have seen some muzzle flash during the day. Today, I actually didn't see any on these longer rifles, 14.5 and 16-inch, as well as my 300 Blackout. I saw none today. I did see some whenever I filmed my 10.5-inch, so the Mark 18 video. I did see some muzzle flash there because, I mean, not all the powder is burning by the time it gets out of the barrel. So you're going to have a little more muzzle flash on those shorter barrels. But today, I can tell you on the 14.5, the 16-inch, and then a 5.5-inch 300 Blackout, I saw no muzzle flash. But again, you will see it, especially since it is a titanium can. Titanium does tend to spark a lot more than Inconel. I'm not saying it's a flamethrower or anything, but don't go into it thinking you're not going to have any muzzle flash whatsoever at night, especially, but you will see a little bit. For those of you that have shot the Huxworks Flow series of cans, this is way better than that in terms of muzzle flash. I mean, this is considered nothing compared to the Huxworks cans. I've seen those during the day. Those are basically flamethrowers. I've seen a lot of Huxworks cans during training, and they're just they're not good for muzzle flash. And for those of you that are running night vision, you do have to take into account that titanium, whenever it gets hot, it glows big time. It glows a lot. So if you are exclusively running nods, I'm just gonna have to, I don't wanna steer you away from titanium, but I want to warn you about titanium. It is going to glow. Now, last but not least, let's talk about the build quality. First and foremost, last but not least, and then I mentioned first and foremost. That's kind of weird. First and foremost, I have not had any issues with this can whatsoever in terms of build quality. Now, one issue that I have had that actually came up today is that this is carbon locked on. I have taken the wrench that was provided with this and tried to take it off, and it is locked on there hard. The muzzle device actually started coming off. I can't get it off now, but it's probably locked on there too. But the muzzle device started turning before the actual QD started releasing from there. So that's one thing that I have had an issue with, but that's not a build quality issue. That's just carbon lock, and that's a different issue entirely that does not take advantage of a taper mount or anything like that. That's something completely different. The suppressor clearly has some thought and care put into it. This isn't just some sleeve that they put over it and didn't want to design or anything like that. They did put design into it, into the baffles, into the end cap, into the actual external, the looks of it. It looks great. Anytime I've shown any friends, they've all commented about the looks of the can. I think it looks great. It has been built great. There are no inconsistencies or blemishes that I can see of any kind. I think it's been great. Speaking of design, I should mention the direct thread adapter that it comes with actually has some great design features on it. In case it gets locked on there, it does come with some flats here on the outside that you're able to use with a spanner wrench, as well as on the inside, it has flats for a socket that you're able to wrench off of the end of the rifle in case it does get locked on there. Lastly, about design, the end caps are actually reverse threaded. So they're the left hand, if you want to go tight, you go left. If you want to go loose, you go right. That prevents, I believe that prevents the actual end cap from coming off during firing or loosening during firing. It's going to be much harder for it to actually come off. And if you do want to take it off, it comes with a sort of hex key-ish thing. I don't know if it actually is a legit hex key or not, but the suppressor comes with something that you're able to put in there and then put it in the spanner wrench that it comes with, right in there, and actually take it in there and twist it off, making it much easier than it would be if you didn't have that. Lastly about the design, this is completely user serviceable. Like I said, I'm not going to show this on camera, but if you take that end cap off and you turn this upside down, everything, all the baffles and all that stuff come out, so you're able to clean it or do whatever you need to on your own. You don't have to just send the entire thing in. Now that I've used this and sort of reviewed it, does that mean I'm just going to take it off and put it on the wall and not use it again? No, I'm actually, like I said, I really like this on my LaRue, the 16-inch. It's already very heavy with a heavier barrel and a heavier front end. So putting a suppressor on there so that I can take advantage of being quieter and having less muzzle flash and any type of signature, I'm definitely going to be putting this almost probably exclusively on that. I mean, I'll run it on this too because it feels so much better than having a straight Inconel heavy ass can on the front of it. So no, I'm absolutely going to be using this can. You're going to be seeing it a lot more. And I'm not just saying that because I have a code. I'm going to be honest, I don't even know if that code gets me anything. I think it just gets you guys 15% off. So I'm not even pushing it so I'll get money. I genuinely think this can is a pretty good can. Granted, it does have its downsides, like the full auto rating being limited to 50 rounds of 5.56, but I think a lot of you guys can work around that because this is a titanium can. You just have to keep it below a certain temperature. So on a cold day like this, I'm not going to have that much of an issue shooting very fast. Now, if you skip to this part of the video, this is the too long didn't watch. This is a great can. It is hub compatible. It's 14.4 ounces with the Bravo ASR mount. And it's a great construction. I do genuinely think if you're looking for a titanium can out there that's fairly light, especially for a longer rifle, I think you should consider this. They also make a 35 caliber one and a 22 caliber one that you can shoot through. So as always, I'll see you on the other side.